It's a very good evening and welcome to Network. My name is Pumela Lezondi. Now, on Friday night, we heard that Kenya's Deputy President William Ruto's Twitter account was hacked by the infamous group called Anonymous. In South Africa, Gauteng revealed the province's broadband network project. We'll tell you about that in a bit. We have info on an online sex shop in Nigeria. We'll tell you about a phone recycling plant in Ghana. And as Ramadan ends, we have information on a mobile phone application that's been helping diabetic Senegalese citizens during the fasting period. We are live, so find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. We're on News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's start with your social media and technology news. The Gauteng government says its broadband network project will soon get underway. They want to connect all provincial government buildings, including regional satellite offices, to a 1,600-kilometer fiber network. The Finance Ministry tells us that its new plan will also provide fast internet access for the province's citizens. Offense Ramadan has more details.
Imagine if everyone in Gauteng, including those in poor townships, had fast internet access. That is what the Gauteng provincial government wants to achieve in the next 5 years. Finance MEC Barbara Creasy paid our studios a visit.
There are the two-song centres. These are multi-purpose centres in communities, and the idea is those centres must become Wi-Fi hotspots so that people can go there and access connectivity.
This is all part of the Gauteng broadband network. The broadband network is expected to run at the speed of 1 gigabits per second to a maximum of 10 gigabits per second. This means it will literally take a second to access your favorite social network, email, and other websites. At the core of this is a 1,600-kilometer fiber network that will connect 6 main sites that are Chris Hani Baraganath Hospital, the Provincial Treasury, the Department of Finance, the West Rand District Offices in Randfontein, and Telkom for the Government Data Center. The Provincial Finance Ministry says this will make it easy to provide e-services in hospitals, schools, and their other offices.
What we came to realize is that for many in the world today, high-speed internet connectivity is regarded as a utility in the same way that water and electricity.
The tender for the Gauteng Broadband Network project has been awarded to Altec Alco Matomo. The 1.2 billion rand deal will see the company rolling out the project over the next 5 years.
On Wednesday, Twitter released its workforce diversity data. The study found that out of Twitter's roughly 3,000 employees, 70% of them are men. Out of the male workforce, 90% are either white or Asian. Other technology firms have also admitted similar diversity data. Here at home, data on technology firms is difficult to come by, but a lot of research on South Africa's economy as a whole shows that as the number of black graduates increases, percentages remain favoring the white man.
The 2013-2014 South Africa Employment Equity Annual Report shows one striking development over the last 10 years. The number of professionally qualified black African people has been rising steadily to reach the same levels as that of their white counterparts. In 2013, the country's workforce was made up of 38.4% professionally qualified black African workers, as opposed to 40.6% qualified white professionals. Surprisingly, these numbers are not reflected at senior management levels. It would seem white people still dominate in top positions of all industries, and that includes technology. Kevin Lebone, who is a researcher at the South African Institute of Race Relations, says companies need to realize the benefits of diversity.
As long as the broader principles are adhered to by everyone, the benefits of a diverse workforce is that, you get a lot of creative input from different angles.
Twitter's release on Wednesday showed a total of 70% of its workforce dominated by white and Asian men. This trend seems to exist here at home too.
I don't believe that there is a glass ceiling, particularly in the technology sector, because it's all about your skill and as an individual. It's just that the society and the historical background has made it so that there is a ceiling.
There is a business case to be made for the promotion of diversity in technology firms and startups. And that is, a diverse workplace is better able to understand the demographics of the marketplace it serves.
Let's go to Tamale in Ghana now, where we meet a farmer who uses a mobile phone application to yield his profits. M-Farms is available in 17 African countries. It allows farmers to access a wide range of information, which connects them with a network of potential buyers and sellers. Bawaya Musa grows vegetables and grains on his small holding in Tamale in northeastern Ghana. He uses a mobile phone application called M-Farms to increase his income.
It improved the yields, and alternatively, our income level has risen, and we get food for our homes and the family. Then we get money, extra income from what we are going to dispose of. So we use that disposable food to pay our children's school fees and take care of the medical and other needs of the families.
M-Farms brings farmers and buyers together, specifically those interested in purchasing their maize, sorghum, cassava and other produce. Farmers using M-Farms on their phones receive information about good agricultural practice, where to locate inputs such as seeds and fertilizer and other support mechanisms. The application was created by the Rockefeller Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in 2006. It's been introduced to Ghana by ImageAd, a local software development organization supported by the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, or AGRA. ImageAd CEO Kwame Bantil says it makes the farmers' work a lot easier.
Now they are able to better plan and better know what they need and the costs involved.
The M-Farms application is active in 17 African countries, including Kenya, Burkina Faso, Mozambique, Tanzania, Malawi, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, Rwanda, and now Ghana. The Muslim holy month of Ramadan is coming to an end. In Senegal, during this time of prayer, reflection and fasting, there is a mobile phone application that gives out diet tips to diabetic people. The app is called Ramadan and is currently being piloted.
During the month of Ramadan, Muslim faithfuls fast from dawn until sunset. This poses a health risk for diabetic people as they have inadequate blood sugar control. This can lead to serious complications, including nerve and kidney damage. Here in Senegal, patients can now manage their health during Ramadan using a mobile phone application. Ramadan works by sending free daily text messages to diabetic patients with recommendations and tips.
We wanted to send the first messages including advice for people who are diabetic and fasting at the same time, because people who are diabetic should not fast without their doctor's permission.
Those behind the app also hope that it'll help curb the cases of hospitalization that sometimes occur during the holy month. For many suffering from diabetes, the application has provided a lifeline.
I find that the messages I receive are very valuable because it gives me information that I need in real time, especially when it comes to things that I should avoid eating due to my diabetes.
Although official figures of diabetes rates in Senegal are not known, it is estimated there were more than 160,000 cases in 2012.
Mobile phone network provider Orange has opened a new mobile phone recycling collection plant in Abidjan in the Ivory Coast. This is their 5th mobile collection facility. Once collected, the mobile phones will leave the Ivory Coast for France, where they will be recycled. It's there that they will be turned into new products. Orange says that the initiative has collected 140 tons of waste and created 30 permanent jobs since it started in 2010. Nigeria is a largely conservative society. This has, however, not stopped human rights activist and feminist Iheyoma Obibi from launching the country's first online sex shop that caters for women. She says her clients are based in various parts of the African continent.
Let's face it, being seen walking into a sex shop is pretty embarrassing. Iheyoma Obibi has remedied this by creating Nigeria's first online female sex shop called Intimate Pleasures and Desires of the Heart. From the comfort of her home, she ships and packages an array of sexual health products and erotica to clients across the country. She noticed there was a huge appetite for her service every time she traveled abroad.
Each time I went on holiday, I will always get somebody asking me, can you bring something back for me? And they'll give me a long list to go to Ann Summers, you know, or Shh Emporium. There's a store in England called the Shh Emporium, and they will send me there.
Now, those people can order straight from her website anonymously.
When you place your order, you'll get a receipt from Conga telling you your order has been sent to the seller. And for these type of items, many people don't want anybody else to know that they've ordered them. So sometimes the names they use don't make sense.
Obibi has invested about 10,000 rand to start the business and says she is now turning a profit despite operating in one of the most conservative societies in the world. She says her clients are from Ghana, Kenya and Senegal. Most of her products cost between 200 and 2,000 rand.
It's SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. After the break, we'll discuss the Road Buddy application. Stay with us.
Zoom into Africa. This is Algeria. The president is Mr. Abdelaziz Bouteflika. Algeria got independent from France on 3 July 1914. The population is more than 36 million people. One of the major languages spoken is Arabic. Monetary unit is dinar.
You're still on Network. Welcome back. Now, South Africa has a staggering number of road accident fatalities. In efforts to curb this problem, the country's Department of Transport has collaborated with road safety organizations to send out safe driving messages to the public. But this doesn't seem to be helping. Producer Lebusi Jake paints us a clearer picture on this.
January 3rd, 2013, a day when South Africa was robbed of one of its gems, the talent that was Burry Stander, a cyclist well known for making South Africa proud at the London Olympics in 2012. His was success short-lived due to his untimely death caused by a taxi driver who knocked him over while on his bike. Burry is only an addition to an already existing long list of cyclists and pedestrians who've lost their lives on our roads. 1.24 million deaths are caused on roads globally, with 50% of those dying being vulnerable users such as cyclists and pedestrians. This is from a road safety report conducted by the World Health Organization in 2010. The International Transport Forum Road Safety Report 2013 shows a 25% increase in South Africa's road fatalities between 1990 to 2011. Road safety promotions on our billboards and televisions endorsed by the Department of Transport have done little or nothing to curb this national pandemic. Instead, it seems like these attempts are poking holes in the pockets of taxpayers.
Now, Road Buddy is a smartphone application that aims to assist in reducing the number of accidents Lebosi Chake was talking about there. The app warns road users when there's a vehicle approaching. Joining us in the studio to talk about Road Buddy is Werner van der Westhuizen, who is the creator of the app. Hello, thank you very much for joining us, Werner.
Thank you very much.
Now, where did the idea come from?
Well, a couple of years ago, stuck on peak hour traffic between Pretoria and Midrand. I was about to change lanes on the freeway, and I almost collided with a motorcyclist that was coming from behind in between traffic. And that clearly laid out the picture for me. That gave me the initial concept of the Road Buddy.
And you received assistance from the CSIR. Can you just tell us about when you approached them and how this worked?
Well, initially we started the concept off as a hardware warning device that would warn motorists that's got those pieces of hardware in their vehicles of the approaching more vulnerable road user, like a motorcyclist or a jogger or a cyclist. We took a couple of years to develop a market-ready product, But in the last 18 months, we focused on a mobile app to do a similar job.
Tell us about that process of developing the app, because you might find that people struggle to develop apps that are user-friendly. How did you go about that?
Well, I think mainly it's a huge problem internationally. So there's a huge demand for anything that can improve road safety. And in our case, we are focusing on the more vulnerable road users like cyclists, joggers, pedestrians, and motorcyclists. And the main problem with collisions between these more vulnerable road users and motorists is a total lack of awareness between these two groups. So in our case, we wanted to improve the awareness for the more vulnerable road users when it comes to motorists and other road users. So the market was set in place, and we used smartphones as a distribution network, which opened up the market for us on a global scale. This allowed us, obviously, to get a market out to a person very easily and very fast. A person can simply download the app, no matter where he is in the world, and start using it in a matter of minutes.
What is the app exactly? Is it an app that gives information? Is it an app that tells you that there's a car approaching? How does it work?
Well, in essence, the more vulnerable road users, like the cyclists, joggers, and pedestrians using the Road Buddy app, will send out warnings to motorists using the Road Buddy app in their immediate vicinity. And the motorist then will receive a verbal warning of the specific type of vulnerable road user that's in his vicinity, as per example, a warning cyclist detected or warning motorcycle detected. So that just makes a motorist aware of the specific type of vulnerable road user that's in his immediate vicinity, so that he can have a lookout for that person, and in doing so, hopefully avoids a potential accident.
I'm thinking you're driving. Voice commands or?
Voice commands only. We don't want people to be distracted from driving. Obviously, that's a huge problem internationally with people SMSing and phoning. So everything is done verbally. So you just have to activate your application and leave it in your car, and you'll receive verbal warnings as the users come into your immediate vicinity.
Is it an app that works with all operating systems, or is it just for a certain few?
No, we designed it currently for all iOS devices and all Android devices. Hopefully in the future we'll have more. But those two operating systems cover probably 80 or more % of the market internationally.
And I suppose it's not just for the South African market.
No, obviously Road Buddy is in partnership with IBM, which for us is a very big advantage. It's built on IBM's mobile cloud technology called SoftLayer, and this allows us to update the application and control it internationally from anywhere in the world. So the application is focused not just on South Africa, but on an international market, on a global scale. And we're bringing it out with 10 additional languages as well.
Yeah. All right. Werner van Veste is a creator of Road Buddy. Thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right. This news network at sabc.co.za and email. After the break, we talk about operating systems that are popular in South Africa.
Across the globe, the continent and the entire country, every second there's always a breaking story. SABC News is your reliable eye, ear and information system in bringing you events as they happen. Our cutting-edge and hard-hitting journalism leaves no stone unturned, giving you the whole picture every time. Join us every day on SABC 1 and know what is happening around you. SABC News, Africa's news leader.
SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. Now, BlackBerry and Symbian-based devices dominate South Africa's smartphone landscape. That's because most South Africans are using BlackBerry devices. This will definitely change in future as BlackBerry sales are declining and Android is outselling its competitors by a significant margin. Joining us from Cape Town to talk about operating systems is Tim Bishop, Director at Deloitte Digital. Hello and thank you for being a part of our network, Tim.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, you did research that looks at operating systems. Can you tell us about that research?
Yeah, I mean, really, we suffer from a lot of kind of European exposure to stats and US stats over here, which taints a lot of how things are approached and the way people approach apps and penetration over here. The earlier chap who was talking about iPhone and Android taking up 80% of European and overseas of the market for smartphones is absolutely right, but it's turned on its head here in South Africa, where those two platforms alone only represent 30% of the smartphone landscape here. As you said just now, BlackBerry, from a legacy point of view, because we started quite early in South Africa, about 5 years ago, has gained a massive proportion of sales over the years. So we sit with quite a legacy installed base at the moment, where BlackBerry and Symbian together, as you rightly say, represent 60% of smartphones over here, and usually they're the last on the list for app development. However, that's slightly different now in the fact that smartphone sales on a monthly basis show a very, very different picture. As you say, BlackBerry's starting to decline, the legacy BlackBerry. BlackBerry 10 really is not selling much at all. And Android is the real killer, with almost half of smartphone sales in South Africa being Android.
Why is that? Why is BlackBerry declining?
That's a great question. Probably best to ask BlackBerry. I don't think even they know. I think the whole landscape changed. The iPhone changed it. BlackBerry were in before the iPhone, and I think just not being able to keep up with how people wanted to interact with smartphones and ecosystems is where they struggled a little bit. I think now the race for features and hardware prowess has really kind of pushed the legacy BlackBerry out a little bit more, and also from an affordability point of view. I mean, Android's smartphones, we look at the top end ones are kind of very expensive, like iPhones and what have you, but there's lower end smartphones now that are kind of in the $50, 500 Rand region with Android. They're becoming almost a disposable technology now.
When people are buying smartphones, are they aware of the operating systems that those phones are using?
I think to an extent. I mean, that's a great question. What we've seen historically in South Africa and Africa is a very kind of brand loyal mobile consumer, which kind of kept Nokia at the top of the tree for a long, long time. I mean, Nokia is a massive brand, and people would go in and want to, buy a Nokia. In the rest of Africa, they're perhaps called Nokias more than mobile phones. And I think now the consumer's becoming far more savvy when it comes to operating systems. And over the last 2 or 3 years, that's been really, really important, as the race for features within operating systems, has been really fiercely fought between the different manufacturers. Although it's probably less of an influence these days, I think. The operating systems are all much of a muchness now, as much as the manufacturers would hate us to say that. But all of the 4 or 5 key platforms now, there's very little difference between them. And it's a smartphone is almost a smartphone now. And they're very interchangeable. With the data in the cloud and your contacts in the cloud, you can jump between iPhone to Windows Phone to Android relatively easy now.
All right. Tim Bishop, Director at Deloitte Digital, thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
Pleasure, thank you.
Now let's find out what people have been sharing in social media. Yesterday, there was a royal wedding in South Africa as Zulu King Zwelithini married Queen Zola Mafu. The colourful wedding was a popular chatting point in social media. Much of South Africa's media was there to tweet, Facebook and Instagram photographs of what was happening in Ulundi. South Africa's biggest football teams, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, held each other to a goalless draw in the Carling Cup. Pirates eventually won on penalties, and the team's fans shared their excitement in social media. And many have been congratulating new Bafana Bafana coach Shakes Mashaba on his appointment. The announcement was made yesterday. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter, News Network at sabc.co.za on email. From me and the rest of the team, have a good one.
is a beautiful city of contradictions.
Funerals in Ghana are colorful and flamboyant. Ghana coffins are functional coffins made by specialized carpenters. These colorful objects, which have developed out of figurative palanquins, are not only coffins but considered real works of art. Each year, festivals and durbars are held in various parts of the country to celebrate the heritage of the people.
That's Kaleidoscope, Sundays 5:30 p.m. on SABC News.
Can South Africans survive 2014? Many of us actually were given bursaries by state-owned enterprises, but the state shrunk, telecom was privatized, and now you are sitting with huge unemployed people, but huge backlogs in terms of infrastructure that could develop the same young people.
It's in our hands, and our future is up to us. It's a tough year, and tough decisions will have to be made by the government. It's an election year, which makes it difficult to make tough decisions. I mean, it's tough to make tough decisions. It's especially tough in an election year.
That's Rights and Recourse, Sundays 2 p.m. on SABC News.